Right, so there we go, just a casual Monday. I don't know what the people in Birmingham are doing, probably sort of rolling out of bed and filling their mouth full of debased British currency. What they're probably not doing is fucking off out of Birmingham with one of their laptops, staying here homeless over the winter because the managing director is such a dishonest porcelain crook, getting sufficient equipment to create effectively a ring of steel. So the problem with Edinburgh is that regardless of your technology, because there are so many people about and there are so many computers, the Wi-Fi, the signals to technology like this is terrible. So unless you have your own infrastructure, it's quite hard to actually get information out to the public, even in an age of information warfare. So I say hard to get out to the public in the sense that getting a 900 meg fibre connection is not the sort of thing you can have on the street. But if you are getting footage into, again, bunkers that let people know what's sort of happening in Britain, then that's going to be actually quite useful for the international audience, particularly when we're thinking about security concerns. So the concerns, of course, at the moment is we have no border. Anybody who likes can come in and make residence here. We have effectively no home office, and some of the people are now just killing us in the street. So it's a bit of an awkward situation for everybody in the world. The British are sort of lying here and being stabbed to death and apologising. And the people who stop apologising are, of course, being attacked by our own government because people like money. So, of course, John Cotton encouraged lots of people to come to Birmingham because there's this magical substance called equity the British are going to give them, but now they got there, there's nobody to give it to them, and Roney is now saying, well, go round looting people effectively. So the city's now yours, you're here now, go and take off whatever you like off the people who are here. They have no legitimate claim to it. This is your country, not theirs, that kind of stuff. And of course, that's having the particular effect on things like policing. So you are going to this conference and talking about things on a biological level. So the muscle fibres in your body, respond in a certain way to your brain telling it what to do. So if somebody comes up here and attacks someone, this bloke over here, I'm probably going to intervene to help him because that's what you do. If people are being attacked, you get the attacker off them because that's what your responsibility is in sort of a legal sense. You're looking out for the people around you, preventing them from thuggery. But of course, in Birmingham, it was just encouraged. And what you then had was people like Naylor, another atrocity happens, all scoldy, you mustn't speculate. And of course, the mustn't speculate lets the crime go on. People are not caught. But the point is to calm things down so the security services can take away the body bags and the British just sort of carry on as more people sort of vanish from this earth. But if you think about us in a historical context, that this was happening just sort of casually on British soil would have been deranged to people in my grandmother's generation, let alone prior generations. So the state of the place under Cotton's leadership is clearly totally unacceptable. But because they were so arrogant, what they never got is the level of functioning of the McGrath clan. They got the impression that because we were staying around in the city doing the job and helping them, that we had no other options, that I could only do that under their purview. But the truth is we were doing the job to help the city out. You've got someone in that role who is going to behave properly, follow the law, not be corrupt, not be paid off, and that's the sort of person you need in that department. You need someone who will, trained from birth to follow inferences and follow the law, which you're going to need to do in that kind of department, aren't you? If I log into my laptop, it's still the case that I can't say or do what I like because I have to follow the law. So again, if any of these people are under my control in effects, because we house them, we've got to look after them, can't we? We can't attack them directly or let them die in a hovel somewhere. That's not legally allowable. The issue, again, as my colleagues have indicated, is the Sovietisation of the city. So when the police are doing theatre performances in a gymnasium, then that's the end of civilization, isn't it? You can't complete a document saying, hello police, there's a problem here, because the response is to engage in theatrics. So, you take whatever inference you like from it. But the benefit of speaking to that kind of audience is you are speaking to people in the British Army, people who are quite serious about defence. So when the crowd is saying, well, I've got an FPV drone and a rifle, I would sign up to join the British Army if it was a home defence unit, then fine. but at the moment, if you're saying our combat troops are off in Estonia because of the kill switch, then that leaves us vulnerable, doesn't it? So, keep your companies there, but we need a British Home Defence force that can deal with Birmingham, given that the head of West Midlands Police keeps capitulating. You have no spine, therefore there is no law. It's a fairly straightforward inference. This cannot carry on. So if the conference was on Hobbes, right, so Hobbes is Leviathan, the hollow Leviathan, that this is effectively backed up now by air and plastic, does the no-fly zone over this place actually exist? If I fly my drone over here, am I going to get arrested by the security services? Well, remains to be seen, doesn't it? But you think about the British state and enforcement. Under the law, of course, rifles are still legal. So your Home Defence Force should be sitting in this arena, looking for the managing director, and of course ready to shoot down Deborah Argentieri's email drone, shouldn't they? So Deborah tries to do her own thing. They set up a Birmingham City Council drone warfare unit, and she flies the thing over here to try and survey the place. And one of our guys hiding over there pulls out his rifle in the corner and takes it down. So that's one of the things we could do, or it never gets close because of course the Carnix sounds from miles away. As soon as the sound is heard, you've got a battalion with rifles waiting to shoot it down. Does Debs have that? Is anyone going to defer to Debs if things go south? No, probably not really, are they? So you think about these things in kind of basic political strategy, this just works. Unless the Brummies can unseat me, so they can't come to either arena, they can't get me out of my home, they can't respond to anything, they can't be honest. The Equality and Human Rights Commission can't prevent messages from going into the city limits of Birmingham because my voice bounces off satellites in the sky. Anybody in the city of Birmingham can hear what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is I'm off because we cannot do the job. If police enforcement is broken down, the law does not apply to the city. So you would think that at a Hobbes conference, previous heads of West Midlands Police would come down, police and crime commissioners, senior leadership in Birmingham, various members of Birmingham Labour, Max Corler, he's retired, maybe he could come down, Andrew Mitchell, Phillips herself. All of these characters could have been there. So you've got Friday till Sunday sitting in a conference hall, none of them here to be seen. They ain't here, they ain't down there. So what they've done by fucking about from November till now is created a global choose-your-own-adventure game that anybody can play at home. So if you can, £1,000, you'll get a check FPV drone off Amazon. So press some buttons, put some goggles over your face, and a drone will fly around this place, find people, just find these people, just look for them. Either the strategy discussed was they leave the minions in Birmingham and they bugger off to places like Warwick to hide, but if you can find them, then you can ask them Socratic questions, and that's all that's needed. Just ask them questions and get a link between the two countries. A lot of these people go to jail, a lot of these problems get cleared up, and you can do this yourself. You don't need my permission to do it. This is not unlawful. The people in the security services are talking about vigilantism. This isn't vigilantism, this is going to police and saying, hello, we need to speak to these people under caution because they're involved in serious organised crime. This is the sort of thing that we have to report anyway. Again, criminals don't, have bureaucratic structures, they don't announce themselves. The compliance people ask questions, find them and say, hello police, this is where they are. So if we're in Birmingham and the bureaucrats saying, we don't have a link between police, or I'm sorry, we can't do that, then we're going to go past you, aren't we? We're going to go over your head. So we'll send this off one then for Claire Fox's perusal. So she's got domestic terrorists wandering around her conference, or not, as the case may be. Again, we've had enough of this. The Ball Street courts in Birmingham are where you're taken if someone like me has attacked you or intending to attack you. If you want free case reviews with Birmingham shelters and intermediaries, since they have the contract to do it, you can speak to people like Abigail Simpson and see why I'm not being called regularly to actually do case reviews. So if she's saying, well, LA isn't taking in, I don't know, EQA consideration for disabled tenant 0042, I can look at the case file and say, well, yeah, we can't kick him out, can we? Because how are we going to do that? How are we going to, in any kind of legal sense, take this person through a legitimate court process, remove him from the property via force, when it's fairly obvious that he lacks capacity to actually go along with this, and we should have a triage support, just getting him into the state system without this guy having to lift a finger, and getting him remedial support so he can live his life. We're not doing that. Ain't got it. Our people ain't trained. They don't care. They're just passing me shit and hoping I'll just do the work for them. We're not going to do that any further for obvious reasons. David Fern can explain why. Case management goes down to, is a light on a laptop green or red? If not green, okay, I can kill you because you're not willing to do the job. All of these and various other exciting statements can be made to the duty solicitor in Birmingham's courts, and they can make of it whatever they want as case management bundles, and human beings walk through the doors saying, hello sir, I don't really understand what's happening, I need a bit of help. Can you help me navigate through the British legal system in sort of a housing compliance role? Duty solicitors look at this kind of stuff and says, oh right, the department putting this stuff through is totally bent. I'm going to investigate this further along with police and detectives. Thank you very much, Mr McGrath, for tipping me off. The Birmingham's compliance team is not compliant because they're full of acquisitive criminals who looked at central government patronage money, said yes please, helping people, no thanks, don't give a toss, and this is where we are after 6 years, 13 years of that being the case, roughly, give or take. So getting this back is not only possible, it has to be by law. The statutory obligations on the local authorities to have that kind of team in that kind of department under the sort of terms that would employ me. So if the City of Birmingham is saying that I cannot be employed in that department, then by definition, and in a legal sense, the department itself cannot run and should be condemned. So you break up the housing stock, sell it off, give it away, give it to private providers, but you make sure that kind of asset never falls into the hands of these people ever again. They all go to jail, post office scandal type stuff, stripped of pensions, dragged through the press in a suitably humiliating manner possibly, the havoc and damage they've done to the city can be made amends as we turn Birmingham into sort of a global prison, in sort of a Judge Dredd style affair, a grim place surrounded by artillery, where we say, well, okay, we'll tolerate you, but if you're going to behave in a disgusting, ungodly manner, piss off and live there. If anybody wants to carry on this work, again, the benefit of the whole Christian thing is it goes after your death. So again, if the nuclear waste facilities with hieroglyphs intended to prevent future civilizations from walking into a nuclear waste dump still survive, then maybe my communications will survive a nuclear war as well. I'm just saying, after my death, in 1,000 years, if a gigantic cannon is still pointing at the city of Birmingham, threatening to destroy it if anybody is dishonest, then my ghost will be very, very happy, because Birmingham will probably be closer to the kingdom of God.